All right, so you've been pouring your heart and soul into this major design project, right? Weeks, maybe even months. The idea feels brilliant, things are starting to come together, but then that one big question hits you. You know the one I'm talking about, the one that keeps every single design student up at night.
How do you prove your design is a success? Seriously, how do you show that it actually works, that you've made something genuinely successful? Well, we are going to dive right into that, because let's be real, getting this part right is the key to absolutely acing your project. So we're going to walk through a simple 5-step playbook today. We'll kick things off by defining your boundaries. Then we'll figure out what actually makes a design good. After that, we'll talk about checking in on your progress, understanding your design's bigger impact, and finally, how to deliver that final verdict. All right, first up, defining your boundaries. You know, every great design, and I mean everything, from a massive skyscraper to a simple coffee table, it all starts with a clear set of rules.
These rules have a name. We call them design parameters. The best way to think about them is as the non-negotiables for your project. Some of them you don't get to choose. They're just inherited. Like if you're building a handrail, you have to follow Australian standards. That's a safety thing, right? To make sure no one gets hurt. But then there are the ones you set for yourself. Maybe you decide your big rule is that your furniture can only use recycled timber. That's a parameter you've created.
Now here's a really important mindset shift. These constraints, they aren't walls trying to box you in or limit your creativity. Not at all. Think of them more like guide rails. They're there to steer your project in the right direction, to make sure you're heading towards a successful outcome. They give you a clear target to aim for.
Okay, so you've got your rules set. But just having rules doesn't automatically make something a success, right? You also have to decide exactly how you're going to measure it, and this is where your criteria for success come into play.
And usually, your criteria will fall into two main buckets. First up, you've got the functional stuff. You know, how does it actually operate? Is it strong enough? Is it waterproof? Is it do the job it's supposed to do? Then you've got the aesthetic side, how it looks and feels. Does it match a particular style? What about the colors, the finish, all these textures? A really solid evaluation has to look at both. And this is where it all clicks into place. Let's take a look at this coffee table example. So the parameter, the big rule, is that it has to use recycled material, non-negotiable. Then the functional criterion is that it's got to be stable, it can't rock around. And the aesthetic criterion, it needs to fit in with an Art Deco style. See how each of those points has a really clear, practical way to be tested? This right here, this is basically your roadmap for evaluation.
Okay, this leads us to a really big idea. Evaluation is not something you just tack on at the very end of your project. Nope, it's a constant, ongoing process. You've got to check in, not check out.
Just think of it as this simple little loop. First, you test something. Maybe your prototype springs a leak. So then you adjust it. You try a new material or maybe a different kind of seal. And this next part is so important. You document it. You actually write down what you changed and why you changed it. I'm telling you, this documentation is absolute gold for your project folio. It's how you show your problem-solving skills in real time.
And please get this next point. This is huge. Making changes and adjustments along the way, that is not a sign that you've failed. It is the absolute heart of the design process. If your first try doesn't work out, that's not a setback. It's just a piece of data. It's you doing the work of a designer.
Okay, let's play this out in a real scenario. Imagine you're deep into your project, you're in the zone, and someone mentions this awesome new material that might be perfect for what you're doing. What do? You can't just switch everything up blindly, right? You have to stop and evaluate.
Your brain should immediately start firing off a bunch of questions. Is this new stuff stronger? Is it way more expensive? Is it going to be harder to work with? Critically, do I even have time to learn how to use it? And of course, the big one, is it actually going to give me a better result in the end? So you weigh their pros and cons, you make a decision, and you guessed it, you write it all down. You document that choice.
All right, now let's zoom out a bit, because a truly great evaluation goes beyond just the object you've made. It looks at the bigger picture. It considers the ripple effect your design could have on people, on society, and on the environment.
I mean, think about the smartphone. It's a perfect example. The positive impacts are massive, right? We've got incredible communication, all the information in the world at our fingertips. But the negative impacts are just as real. We're talking mountains of e-waste, that constant pressure to be always on, and some really serious questions about our privacy. A good designer has to be able to see and consider both sides of that coin.
But then, on the flip side, design can have this incredibly positive impact. Just look at apps like Be My Eyes or WearMap. These aren't just bits of clever code. No way.
They are genuinely life-changing tools that use technology to solve real human problems, making the world a more inclusive place for everyone. And all of this brings us to the finish line, the final verdict. After all that hard work, the designing, the building, the constant checking and adjusting, it is finally time to test your finished project. But at this final stage, you're looking beyond just a simple checklist of, did it meet my criteria? The much bigger question is this: is my design an appropriate solution? And an appropriate solution considers the whole shebang. Is it cost-effective? Is it safe? Does it work well and look good? Were the materials a smart choice? And what about its environmental footprint? You see, it's that total, holistic view.
Because ultimately, the proof is in the pudding, as they say. The absolute best way to evaluate is to just do it. Test your design for real against those functional criteria you set way back at the beginning. If your project was designed to hold water, well, you gotta pour water in it and see what happens. It really is that simple, and it's that important.
So, as you head back to your workshop or your desk to keep pushing forward on your own major project, I want you to ask yourself this. When it's all said and done, when you finally put your design to the test and really think about its total impact, what is the final verdict for your project going to be? Because that answer, it's entirely in your hands.